Supposedly the next Warzone map has already been data mined and leaked within Warzone files, but these are all still rumors, so take everything that is news-wise about this with a grain of salt, because we don't know what could happen and what will actually be released within the future. But today I wanted to share my opinions on some of the news that broke and what we can expect Call of Duty wise and what I hope happens with these changes that will be coming to Warzone. I'll have the main videos that I watched about this news down below in the description, from exclusive Ace and prestigious Key if you guys want more news. I just want to quickly sum it up right now. And so the next Call of Duty is going to be World War II Vanguard, or another World War II game that will take place on the Pacific front of the World War II battlefields this time, instead of the European front like we saw in Call of Duty World War II. With this news coming out, within the Warzone game code, a lot of data miners have actually found some locations for Warzone that are predicted to be within the next launch map of Warzone for World War II. Now, there has been some official information from some leaked dev studio stuff where they plan to release the new map at the launch of the next Call of Duty game, rather than a few months after, similar to what happened with Cold War, where Cold War integration happened and we didn't really get any map changes until a little bit later, where it kind of merged Verdansk into a Cold War Verdansk. But we will be getting a brand new Warzone map when the next Call of Duty launches late in 2021, and it will most likely take place on the Pacific front of World War II, so we could expect some very interesting map locations, as well as Activision has said that this map is going to be the biggest and most complex Warzone map yet, so it'll be a nice change from the Verdansk map that we are currently playing on and have been playing on since the game first came out. Now, thinking about it realistically, it would be pretty interesting to have a World War II style battle royale for Call of Duty within Warzone. Now, if you think about it, we've been pretty modern within Warzone, no pun intended with Modern Warfare, but what we saw was a brand new merge when Cold War launched, where you had the Cold War weaponry and the Modern Warfare weapons all within Warzone itself, which leaves me with the question of what happens when this World War II era Warzone map launches. Are we going to have two maps where Verdansk is still playable and that's where you use the Cold War and Modern Warfare weapons? Or is it just this brand new Pacific Warzone map and it's just the World War II weapons? Or do we see something where it's the World War II map and we have the guns from Modern Warfare, Cold War, and World War II Vanguard all within a single Warzone map set in World War II time? And one thing that sounds cool is being able to use weapons from any of these three games within this new Warzone map in World War II, even though it would break some of the realism in time era stuff, because why would you have a Vert 50 cal in World War II and all this new weaponry like these new advanced grenades and stuff like that? But personally for me, I would be willing to suspend my disbelief and have a World War II themed Warzone map and be able to use weapons from all three games. It doesn't sound as realistic as some people want it to be, but it does sound very consumer friendly, because you can use your blueprints and your weapon variants from older games within Warzone still, even though it might not fit the time era. Now, they could have something completely different planned where it's a Pacific World War II map, but it's years after World War II happens. I have no clue their logistic plan to merge Call of Duty Cold War, Modern Warfare, and this World War II Vanguard within this new Warzone map. And speaking about a new map, I'm super excited. We've been playing Verdansk for so long, and Verdansk is slowly getting tiresome and it's not as interesting as it once was. Now, it's still fun to play from time to time, but it's not as gripping for someone like me like it used to be. Now, when Warzone launched, I would say last summer in 2020, I played Warzone the entire time. I barely touched Modern Warfare 2019 unless new weapons came out and I got those Damascus. And I played Warzone consistently throughout the fall and winter as well when I was in school. Sure, I did the Cold War, DM Ultra, and Dark Ether grind, and I've been playing Cold War ever since, but I also threw some Warzone in there as well, but it's just not appealing to me anymore. And I feel like if we got a fresh new Warzone map, I think the replayability of Warzone would peak once again. They just need to figure out a solid way to balance the weapons from the last three Call of Duties And the reason I say they have to balance the three games within Warzone is because Cold War and Modern Warfare have both been integrated into Warzone, and there's lots of people that are free-to-play Warzone players that have bought weapon blueprints specifically for the game. So for them to just remove those weapons in a free-to-play game where bundles become important, bundle sales are going to drop like flies, because why would you buy a bundle for the new World War II map if in a couple years when Call of Duty becomes modern again, they're just not usable in Warzone whatsoever? So it's going to be very hard to make Warzone realistic and carry the Warzone story over into this World War II Vanguard game, similar to what we saw within Modern Warfare and Cold War, how Stitch and all these characters were brought into Warzone and Verdansk was going to get nuked, and the story that way, they're going to have to find a way to balance it where the story makes sense as well as the weapons make sense for the time period as well. Because the amount of money that people are going to spend on weapon bundles is going to carry Warzone into the future, and that's where the majority of their income is going to be. And think about all the bundles that they have for Modern Warfare and Cold War right now in the game. They probably have thousands of dollars worth of different bundles within the store right now, both for Cold War and Modern Warfare. And if they were to have a World War II only weapon Warzone map, not a lot of people would be buying those old bundles for Modern Warfare and Cold War, because those weapons that people would want to buy in the shop, or variants people would want to buy, or tracer packs, or you name it, why would people buy that if the map's on a World War II Pacific map that people can't use those guns that they just bought? Which makes me think we're either going to see one of a few options. We're either going to see a brand new map just like Verdansk when it first came out last year, and that's going to be it. It's just going to be one map. Maybe Rebirth Island will stick around, but it's going to be this main Pacific Island map. That's option one. Option two is we keep Verdansk and introduce this new World War II Pacific map and remove Alcatraz or Rebirth Island, or option three, which is have all three maps, the new Pacific World War II map, Verdansk, and Rebirth Island. Of course, that splits the player base up, and you now are splitting up millions of players between three different maps and all the specialty game modes for each map. But notice how I said millions of players. There's probably anywhere from 100,000 to a million players active on Warzone at all times worldwide. So I even think if they brought in three separate maps, Rebirth Island, Verdansk, and this new Pacific map, there would be no issues matchmaking. SBMM would get a little funky at times, which means that there'd be long loading times and longer times to find lobbies, but that's something that we would have to face then. And then, of course, when that happens, everyone will be complaining and telling Activision to get their shit together and to fix the game and make it more playable. But this all sounds super exciting, and I'm really looking forward to a brand new map. Now, as I said, I've linked both of the videos that I watched news-related wise on this topic if you want some more in-depth stuff, where it talks about some leaked gameplay people have seen and some actual leaked locations and their titles. But the one thing that I am most excited for is to see what weapons from World War II that we're going to see within this new Warzone Pacific map, and if and how they are going to integrate the Cold War and Modern Warfare weapons into this single Battle Royale experience. Because I really think Warzone should be incorporating every Call of Duty game into it from here on out. Of course, loadouts might get very busy with having assault rifle categories packed with like 15 to 20 to 30 assault rifles from three separate Call of Duty titles, and it's going to make things very convoluted and very complex in the menus, and for new players it might be very confusing to figure it out. But as long as they categorize it where the World War II weapons are on top of the Cold War weapons, which are on top of the Modern Warfare weapons, so if you want the Modern Warfare weapons, you just scroll down. But if they did that, it would increase the sandbox experience within Warzone, and it would give players even more freedom of choice with their loadouts. Now, of course, floor loot would be themed with World War II weapons on this new Pacific map, but in your loadout, grab some of the weapons from Cold War or Modern Warfare. The only issue is how they would balance thermal scopes, because Cold War and Modern Warfare, good time eras to have thermal scopes, but having a World War II game with thermal scopes doesn't make sense. So that's where you would have to balance the attachment somehow. And of course, people could always just run the Modern Warfare and Cold War weapons if they wanted to use thermal, but it would put the World War II players at a disadvantage. But since Warzone's free to play, even then, everyone has access to thermal weapons, or thermal scopes on different types of weapons overall. But it would be super cool to have that happen within the game, because the more sandbox like it is, the more freedom of choice, the more fun that a wider variety of players will be able to have in the game. And it would be just super fun if you wanted to use like an M16 and then like a Type 100, or a Type 100 and a Vert 50 cal. You could make these crazy weapon combinations of old and new guns together and just run around Warzone and have a lot of fun. Anyway, that's my thoughts and opinions on these recent leaks within Warzone. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How do you think this will work out? Because realistically, none of us know. And of course, it is all rumors, so we don't know which will come true and which won't within all the leaks. And of course, once again, all the links down below in the description for those videos that I watched. Anyway, like if you enjoyed, dislike if you didn't. There's no hard feelings. Subscribe for more videos in the future. Social media links in the description below. I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.